Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. Here on the Bitcoin chart, we are starting on the daily time frame. Bitcoin has reached on the smaller time frame the next target. We are going to take a look at that in a moment. Here on the daily chart, unchanged situation. In my opinion, we are late in the cycle, in the late stages of the cycle. I say that again and again. For most altcoins, I'm expecting another rally. I have no evidence for most of them that a major top has formed. So we are still looking for higher prices. We're not bearish, but we are cautious. So yeah, would like to still see further upside. And just be aware, should Bitcoin put a major top in place, most altcoins will follow Bitcoin's, in the same vortex to the downside, that means with the next high, when we get towards 130k, and we don't need to reach it exactly, so we'll stay close to the microstructure. Therefore, the next few weeks will be critical. If you want to stay up to date, make sure that you follow us here on YouTube or on X, Twitter, or even join maybe our membership. At least we keep you updated as good as possible everywhere. But I'm fully convinced the next few weeks, not necessarily weeks, but next couple of months or so, they will be really, really critical. So once the price goes higher and we get a pattern completed in wave C, I mean, it could be the last rally of the cycle. I'm not saying it is, right? But once that wave count is full, we have to get very, very cautious. So it's not about being bearish, it's about being cautious and understanding the risk. Don't ignore that the price has already moved up in a 5-wave pattern from the 2022 low. It's pretty much a full wave count, not exactly full. If we look at the microstructure, it can still get a few more upside adjustments towards 130k. That's the expectation, actually. But a wave count doesn't have to be full, right? It can still always break a little early. So that's why we're tracking support. But for now, the overall roadmap still points towards higher prices, as I've mentioned, over the recent weeks and months and actually years. But this is now more about the smaller time frame because, the closer we get to the end of a larger cycle, the more important it is to zoom in, take a look at the micro patterns, understand when things start to deviate from an ideal roadmap, but also it's important to understand what is actually meaningful. Not every break of support is meaningful. Sometimes we get breaks of micro supports on the 15-minute chart. They are not important. Okay, so it's important to understand what is really meaningful. I mean, let's talk about the smaller time frame. And here on the smaller time frame, we are, for me, a meaningful break of support here would be a break below the support level that would indicate that wave 5 to the upside hasn't started yet. At the moment, and I go back to the daily chart, at the moment the idea is, and when we zoom into the 15-minute short-term chart, then we see this here. This section, right? But at the moment, the thesis is that a larger degree fourth wave here bottomed on the 13th of January. Now, if a support level breaks, that indicates that this is unlikely and instead wave 4 or even something more bearish is still unfolding or is actually unfolding. Well, that would be a meaningful break of support. So the question would be, which level is that? And for me, that's the 92,660 level. I'm tracking two pathways at the moment that allow for higher prices more directly within this scenario that a larger degree fourth wave is bottomed. And here we are tracking wave 1 to the upside, wave 2 to the downside. And the question is wave 2 already over? That's the blue count. Or is it still unfolding as per the yellow scenario? So for now, I am tracking higher as per the blue scenario as long as micro support levels hold. But if they break, and the price is falling back into the larger support area, it wouldn't change necessarily the overall structure, okay? It wouldn't be necessarily meaningful. But what we do, so basically, yellow scenario, which is a 1-2 setup, or call it an AB, that doesn't matter in the short term, is valid and relevant as long as the market does hold above 92,665. So whatever the price does, we want it to hold above that level to keep the overall bullish, directly bullish expectations alive. Now, this internal B wave is a bit too high now. So, well, it's not necessarily too high. But what we need to do to keep a short-term bearish alternative on the chart, I think this is morphed into a WXY structure. So it's a WXY, but obviously also here, this internal B wave is quite high now up there for the yellow scenario, right? So it's still valid in a WXY pattern. And yeah, I mean, it might still morph a little bit. And as long as the rally is only in 3 waves, it can easily be a corrective rally. But we need to have some kind of a short-term bearish alternative, right? So it can be useful to know where things could be going should upper micro support break. So for now, however, because we're printing higher highs and higher lows and the short-term uptrend seems to be in control, we're tracking at the moment the blue scenario primarily here, which points to higher prices. It's filling in the microstructures nicely. As you might recall from previous updates, I wanted to see the price get to round about 105,340. It's arrived there now. And if you watched yesterday's video, the last one, you're well informed. The current idea is that what we're seeing here could be wave 4, the internal wave 4. In this diagonal pattern to the upside, we're tracking a potential for 5 waves. That's sort of the just the foundation from an Elliott Wave point of view. This is pretty much what it tells us that when it tells us that a trend is up. If we get a 5-wave move up, that would mean this 5-wave pattern is typically going to get corrected. We're not there at these 5 waves yet, and therefore we're still looking at higher prices. We have an initial micro support area, which I think is a weak support area. It's between 102,850 and 103,775. As long as we're holding above it, there's no signal. The top is in place, but a pullback in internal wave 4 would be possible. That's wave 4 of C of circle 3. Next upside levels, 106,500 and 107,330. And yeah, I mean, the first signal that the top is in place would be a break below upper micro support. Then surely yellow will become maybe more likely, but there will be more levels that can hold, that can keep the blue count alive, right? A break below upper micro support here is not so meaningful. This would not be an invalidation of the structure. So yeah, overall still looking for higher. I'm quite happy that the price reached that target because that, let's say, validates the blue scenario for now. And I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also, make sure that you follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.